What's going on, everybody? Spaceballs here. Welcome back to another Awaken Chaos Era video. Alright, well, today we're going to do a showcase on Virgil. He's always been a decent unit, but a couple patches ago, they buffed him even more, making him even more OP for arena content, and I use him in Void Tower, I use him in Bounty Hunts. He's been absolutely great. The thing with Virgil is when they nerf the spells, or they nerfed you from being able to use 2 spells in one round, especially in arena, Virgil for me moved to the top of my list when it comes to arena offense, because he allows me to silence the Wintrex, because now I can't stun like I used to. If you guys watched my arena video that I put up, I think a couple days ago or last week, my strategy was to go with my Wintrex, speed buff, and then stun their Wintrex with my stun spell. But now that you can't use the defense break and the stun spell in the same round, what I've been doing is using my Virgil after my Wintrex. So my Wintrex goes, speed buffs, then my Virgil goes, puts up the silence, and I also have him in a stun set, which I'll show you in a second. And then that allows me to lock down their Wintrex, so I don't have to worry about them nuking me. And again, this is only if you're facing Wintrex teams. And of course, if you're facing Brand teams, it's the same thing. I'd go in there, I would stun the Brand. This way he couldn't put up his shield, attack buff, and defense buff, all that stuff. So it works the exact same way. That's why when Virgil was buffed in that patch, it actually worked out great, because yes, we lost the spell in 2 rounds, but now we're able to use Virgil in place of that spell. And I mean, of course, we could have always used Virgil in that place. It just wasn't needed because you had the stun spell. You could basically stun the Wintrex, put up your defense break, go in there, nuke everything. Now it's not so cut and dry. So for my Virgil, I'm just worried about him getting up the silence. One thing I did notice is that he lands his silence almost every single time, even off element. I was literally running him with 20% focus in arena, and that silence was landing almost every single time. So I did take a little bit of the focus off him, and I went more into a hybrid build, so he does do a little bit of damage as well. I don't think that's a necessity. I think if you are going to use Virgil the way I'm going to use Virgil, or if you're using him in Bounty Hunts or Void Tower, you do want him to have some beefiness to him. You're not necessarily going to be running him as a pure damage dealer. You're going to be running him more for his kit, which is his AoE silence, which just makes him so strong, because he'll shut down the entire team, especially if you're running Wintrex with him. You can refresh his ultimate, and then he can control 2 rounds in a row, which will allow you to do enough damage so you don't have to worry. At least get rid of the damage dealers, then you'll slowly pick off the rest. Supports don't really do a lot of damage, especially in Void Tower. So my main thing with Virgil was getting him as fast as possible. I need him to be right up there with Wintrex, so he always takes that second turn, especially in arena. And then just having him tanky enough to be able to take a couple hits just in case he needs to. And the icing on the cake for me was I threw him in a stun set. By no means does he need a stun set. It's just I had a decent stun set for a hybrid build, and I didn't really know where to put it. The one great thing about this is if he does miss the silence, which he usually doesn't, but if he does, he will stun instead. I mean, not all the time, but at least you have a chance to get that stun in there as well, just in case if you miss the silence, then he'll go in with the stun set and hopefully land a stun. So having him on a stun set is really good for his A2 as well, because he has 2 AoEs. And on this one, we have deals 100% damage to all enemies plus 100% bonus damage if the target is affected by silence. The thing with Virgil is you could build him as a damage dealer and try to just do as much damage as possible. But one thing I've noticed, especially using him in Bounty Hunts and Void Tower, you do need a little bit of tankiness on him, especially if you're going to go into like 4 or 5 rounds. If you're going to use him in arena just as a straight nuker, then yes, of course, you could just build him straight DPS with a little bit of focus. That should work fine as well. But the way I like to use him is for total control. So whenever I'm taking a turn with Virgil, I'm getting some type of control out of him. Not necessarily the damage. I bring DPSs for that. He's there solely for the control aspect of the fights. And then on the A1, you can also land a stun as well and remove one of their positive effects. And then on the trait, we have grants this character 20% chance to apply Arcane Sanction to a target for 1 turn. At the end of the enemy's round, this character will convert 4 range at the end of their turn into a bonus turn. And then Ascension 2 or Ascension 5, it's going to be 40% instead of 20%. Everything else is the exact same. Again, we're not really worried too much about any of this. We just want him there for the silence and the stun. Again, really just going to depend on how you're using him. If you're going to use him as a damage dealer, of course, then you're going to want as much damage as possible, and that's going to work out great for you. But if you're using him like I am, just as a control unit, then just go for that hybrid build. I think that's going to work best for you. So as far as gear goes, I'm not happy with the ring at all. This is a crit rate ring. I want to change this as soon as I possibly can. It does have 90% crit damage and 21% attack on it. It's just not a good ring for Virgil. I just needed to get him on a speed set at the time, so I just threw it on there for now. But it does work, so it's fine, I guess. And then for the necklace, we have attack percentage. This should be HP percentage because, again, we want Virgil to stay alive. This does have speed, and it does have 20% focus. I believe because of the 20% focus is the reason I put it on him, or the reason I'm using it. Just the speed set just worked out, so I just threw it there. But I definitely want to change the crit rate and attack for HP and defense or something like that in the future. As far as the boots go, we have speed. Of course, we need Virgil to be as fast as possible. We have crit rate, crit damage, agility, and health. A very, very good hybrid set of boots. For the body, we have precision, attack, health, and attack. Not a really good body, but it's part of the stun set, so I had no choice. Same thing with the helmet. 21% focus, really good for our Virgil. Health, resistance, and defense, perfect. And then for the weapon, we have crit rate, attack, health, and health. Again, Virgil doesn't really need too much. He's just there more for the control. I did try him as a damage dealer, and he does do decent damage, but I think his role is much better off being used as a control unit. That's just my opinion on it. Of course, if you're using him as damage dealer and he's working for you, great. It's just the way I like to use him is more as support. I basically use him mostly right now for arena. Almost every single arena fight I go into at this point is with him. I'm going to push back to top 10, and he's going to be one of the units I use to do so. And having the stun set just makes it so much more fun, because if you miss the silence, he'll land a stun. He's landing it with his A2. It's just a great, great thing. And the best part of it is if you run him with wind tracks, you can actually use his ultimate, and then you can use his A2 back into his ultimate, which will give you 3 rounds of control. And I'm not sure what his cooldown is on his A2. Let me just check real quick. That's going to be 3 turns. So yeah, you can actually cycle back to this and always have full control if you play it right. So for example, and I'll show you guys in some fights, of course, before we wrap this video up, I always showcase the unit in action. But I feel like the best way to run him is use his ultimate first, then go again with your wind tracks, use his A2, then once you go back to your wind tracks, refresh his ultimate, he'll use that again, and then you'll be right back into your A2, which just gives you permanent control. Great, great unit. I absolutely love Virgil. I liked him before the last patch where they buffed him and nerfed the spell thing, but I like him even more now. Great, great, fantastic hero. Definitely throw him into some action, especially when it comes to arena. I think arena is his main place, in my personal opinion. Obviously, you can use him in other places. Like I said, I use him in Void Tower and Bounty Hunt, and he works great there. But his main use for me is in arena, especially after they did that whole spell change. So not sure what content we're going to showcase him in yet, but probably a little bit of everything. So we're going to let that run, and we'll be right back. Enjoy, guys. Poof, we're back. So that is my man Virgil. What a great showcase. Like you saw, full control, really good paired with Wintrex. I think that's probably his best pair is with Wintrex. Obviously, if you can get Virgil fast enough, and then you don't really need Wintrex, because if Virgil goes, he's going to completely shut down the enemy anyways by putting up that AoE silence. And if you put him in a stun set, he'll stun as well. Whatever the case may be, but he's definitely going to shine with Wintrex because she's able to refresh his ultimate. Great thing when it comes to an AoE silence. I mean, other than that, one thing I do want to point out is his base attack. It's really low. I mean, once I max ascend him, it'll be a little bit higher. But even now, being at Ascension 3, 6-star, he only has a 811 base attack. It is absolutely horrible. That's why I don't like to build him as a damage dealer. Now, you could argue the fact that you could just stack crit rate and crit damage on him and get the damage that way. But I just feel like being a pure DPS is not necessarily his place. He's definitely going to be more stable and more useful for you if you use him basically as a hybrid or support. My current build on him could be confrontational, where people would say, why do you have him built like that? Like I said, the ring is not really what I wanted, but I just threw it on him, and yeah, it gives him 85% crit rate, and his attack is really low. Same with his crit damage. So it's definitely something I want to change. Like I said, HP and defense. This build currently is probably not the best build for him, but where I am in Arena, it works fine, so I just went with it. But if you guys were going to use Virgil, I would probably just use him purely as a control unit. So just stack health, defense, speed, and focus, resistance, and precision agility if you can get it, and then just stay away from the DPS stats. It'll be much easier for you to get the other stats that you need as far as focus, health, and defense goes. The main thing is that he moves before the enemy, so as long as he's doing that, I don't really see the issue. But like always, I want to know what you guys think. What do you think of Virgil? Are you using him? What content do you use him in? What do you think of the buff that he got in that last patch? I'd love to hear what you guys have to say, so comment down below and let me know what you're thinking. Thank you guys so much for the support here on YouTube. We have a giveaway going on. That video will be linked down below. If you want to follow me on Twitch and Discord, those are also linked down below. We do 2 monthly giveaways on Discord, random giveaways on Twitch. If you want to be a part of the random giveaway that we do here on YouTube, all you have to do is sub to the channel, like and comment on my past 10 videos, and that will automatically enter you into the random giveaway. I truly do love each and every single one of you. I will see you in the next one. Spaceballs out. Peace.